Breath of the Wild is a really amazing game, with all the fun coming from the exploration and just not knowing what's around the corner. But Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out probably quite soon. I'm guessing early next year at most. So, with all that said, and it's probably going to be using the same map from what Eiji Aonuma has told us, that exploration is gone. All that mystery is gone, unless they shake up the map incredibly. And I don't know how much you've seen of Breath of the Wild coverage, but I've taken a few cues from other content creators here, but especially Commonwealth Realms' recent video on it, where they mentioned floating islands and underground civilizations. And while I don't see the floating islands things happening, I really wish that Nintendo goes full on with the underground civilizations. I want to see new races or old races that we haven't seen for a long time come back. I want it to feel sinister, I want it to feel dark and creepy, but be on the same level as Hyrule above. Be just as exciting to explore, because that is one of the things Nintendo needs to do for this. Another thing Nintendo could do that would be amazing and make the game just that much more exciting would be sort of transformations like in Majora's Mask, where you could transform into a Goron, or into a Rito, or into a Zora. Because we saw little tidbits of this with the champion's powers, but imagine the ability to fly through the skies of Hyrule as a Rito, or smash through rock walls in the caves as a Goron, or just swim and dive under the water as a Zora. Like, how much fun would that be? Like, honestly, if Nintendo did this, I would buy like 8 copies and just freak out, because it would be genuinely something we haven't seen for so long. That level of creativity just isn't really still in Nintendo's everyday playbook. So, if they were to do that, it would open up the skies, it would open up the rivers, and it would add a super fast way of transportation around the underground caves, like horses and the Master Cycle Zero was. But it would still be a game that felt very Zelda-y. It would be its own thing, because it wouldn't be an exact rip-off of Majora's Mask, because they would implement the mechanic probably how the champion's abilities work, but slightly tweaked. So, say we have to find like their childhood home, or revisit old locations from other Zelda games that link into each species. Like we find in we find at the base of Lake Hylia a giant underground sort of cavern that used to be Zora's domain from the N64 games. Like, how exciting would that be? And then as you go deeper in, you find sorts of mysteries and skeletal remains of the Zoras and creepy old artifacts and new enemies, eventually finding out why it was abandoned, and eventually from that freeing Zora's domain, allowing for another civilization for the Zora, and gaining the ability to dive under the water, whether that be through the artifacts of the scales like in Ocarina of Time, or just through a whole new system. We don't know, but this could be an amazing just way of shaking the games up and bringing back that excitement and the ability to explore by opening up new locations, like by dropping the sea level slightly, or giving us a way to go down, like they gave us the ability to fly with the Rito in the base game. But all this would mean nothing if it's not done well, which is one of my fears with Nintendo right now, because they botched New Horizons. That game is missing so much, and the sounds and the feel is just off from my perspective as a fan. And if you love the game, more power to you. I wish I was in your situation, but that game isn't for me. And I really hope that Nintendo doesn't go oh, this is the game, we're adding more in later. We need all these games, like single player games, or mainly single player, like multiplayer added on, to just be a game at launch, because Nintendo has failed this and they're not getting much better. In fact, they're getting worse. I'm gonna make a video on this, so we'll park it there and we'll come back to that in another video. The Zelda team are some of the best developers in the industry right now, so if anyone can pull this off and shake up the gaming landscape again and win Game of the Year, it's Eiji Aonuma and the Zelda devs, who are absolutely amazing developers. And honestly, those guys are so great that they have thought of things that we haven't even dreamed of, that they're gonna throw in there and shake it up. Because with the Underground and the Zonai coming into it, we don't know what's gonna happen, because we know very little about the Zonai. And with Ganon's body and the glowing hand, then who knows what's gonna happen there? Because if you're venturing underground, exploring artifacts and going back into the past and revisiting Zelda games, dungeons and civilizations from the past that have been buried deep underground, finding fossils, finding exciting things such as the windfish, having those massive air, water creatures, leviathans coming back to life, and maybe we have to fight them because they've been corrupted by malice. Or maybe Ganon has done some magic. But Nintendo needs to do so much to shake this up as they're using the same map. And I feel that they can do it. So I'm holding on hope, because E3 is coming around and we're almost guaranteed to get this information, guys. So sit tight, hold on to your excitement, because I know I really am. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.